No, I published my messages because I have nothing to hide. And after a weekend of, frankly, smear and innuendo, I felt it important to put them out there. I always think sunlight is the best disinfectant, and there it is for people to read and see. It's great to be here at Trafford Hospital, the birthplace of the NHS, where they're also showing us what the future of the NHS looks like in terms of the new surgical hub capacity that's helping us to cut NHS waiting lists, not just here in Greater Manchester, but right across the country, over 330,000 since Labour came to office, a record-breaking 18.4 million treatments and operations performed last year. We know there's more to do, but at least the NHS is on the road to recovery, and this is a year we're going to put our foot down on the accelerator, making sure that what we're seeing here in Trafford is rolled out right across the country to deliver the care that everyone needs. Well, last year, Labour delivered a record-breaking 18.4 million operations and treatments in the NHS. That's how we're getting NHS waiting lists down. We've also had to go hard at some of the inefficiency, the waste, the duplication that we saw in the NHS waiting list, where we were finding duplicate records, people still on the list who'd already been treated. So making sure that we've got an efficient, modern NHS that's seeing people at the right time, in the right order, in the right place. That's how we're going to cut NHS waiting lists. We've made a good start in our first 18 months in office, down 330,000, but I'd be the first to say a lot more to do. I've got my foot down on the accelerator to make sure that by the end of this Parliament, we get waiting lists and waiting times down from the 18 months that we inherited to the 18-week standard that the NHS sets for itself but hasn't met for some time.
Prime Minister.
My job is to make sure we get our NHS back on its feet and fit for the future. We're seeing some good progress. Waiting lists are coming down. Ambulances arrived faster this winter than they did last winter. Patient satisfaction with access to general practice is improving. But I'd be the first to say there's a lot more to do. That's what the Prime Minister and I are focused on. And we can see what the alternative is right now in the Gorton and Denton by-election, where Reform would like to see the NHS replaced with an insurance-style system for the NHS like they have in America and other countries. I don't want people having to pay for their care. Those aren't the NHS's values. Those aren't Labour's values. And voters in Gorton and Denton have got a chance to vote for our NHS by voting Labour and sending Reform's Tommy Robinson-backed candidate packing, voting with their values for Labour, for the NHS and for an inclusive country. As the latest results show, my focus is on doing the job the Prime Minister has set for me for the country, which is getting our NHS back on its feet and making sure it's fit for the future. We're making real progress. Waiting lists are down again, despite strikes in December, despite Christmas and the lower activity. And last year, we delivered 18.4 million operations and appointments. That is a record for the NHS. That's how we're getting waiting lists down. We're seeing ambulances arriving faster this winter than last winter, patient satisfaction with access to general practice rising. But I would be the first to say, for all that progress, there is more to do. The NHS is on the road to recovery, but I've got my foot down on the accelerator this year. We're going to continue to make progress in the NHS. We're going to go further and faster, and that is the only job I am focused on. Hello. Right, I'm now going to pay attention to that. Hello,
Hi,
how
I'm
you doing?
Karina, local councillor.
Yeah, good to see you. How you doing?
Yep. Some exciting developments coming. We're going to start some cancer pathways through the robot, which is novel for an elective site, and that's going to help us get our cancer waiting lists down and free up the capacity on the acute sites, which will only be a good thing for the bigger waiting list issue that we face.
Great, lead the way.
Yeah,
Which way we're heading?
this way.
Lovely, thanks. Do you guys go as well? Because it must be quite nice working in something that is just kind of getting up and running, but also feel free to be honest about some of the teething problems and snags that you might have learned from along the way as well, because I'm sure it hasn't all been plain sailing getting something new up and
There's
running.
always teething problems, but the team have overcome them really well, and they're brand new state-of-the-art theatres, so the teams love working in them.
Great, let's go and have a look. Yeah.